Want to see how to make a D&D character? Want to see me do it again? This time on Bob World Builder, we discuss how to play D&D, making a character for 5e Dungeons & Dragons, and we show off the fastest possible method for character creation. Hey, Bob here, and welcome to Bob World Builder. If this is your first time on the channel, I make D&D related videos to spark conversation between new and veteran players so we can all share our perspective and improve our games. Join the Discord linked in the description for D&D advice, world building tips, and finding people to game with. This is part 3 of a series called How to Play D&D. Check out parts 1 and 2 linked in the description, and don't forget to subscribe to get new videos from this channel under your subscriptions tab every Wednesday. Alright, I love creating characters for 5e Dungeons & Dragons. There are so many race and class combinations. Some of them work really well together mechanically. Some of them are totally optimized but for role-playing potential. And with so much to try, it's really just one of the best parts of the game for me. And so when I am designing a character that I plan to play for a long-term campaign, months, maybe years, who knows, I really take my time putting a lot of thought and time into building that character and working out all the little details from the start. All right, here we go. Yeah, nice. But if you're like me, there have definitely been times when you need to create a character and you don't have hours and hours to do it. Maybe your DM decided to run a one-shot instead of the normal campaign. Maybe your players decided to fight that shopkeeper and now you need stats, abilities, features, and probably loot that they're going to find. Share a tale in the comments about an NPC your group unexpectedly attacked. Alternatively, if you're totally new to D&D, character creation can seem exciting, but also really confusing. Race, sub-race, class, subclass, backgrounds, all this stuff with so many different options, and it's hard to tell which parts are more important than others if they're important at all. And whoa, if you realize partway through character creation that you'd rather be playing a different race or a different class, the prospect of starting over from the beginning might seem so daunting that you end up going with a character you're no longer that excited about, and that could ruin your whole experience with D&D. So in this video, we are going to walk through the inspiration and the basic mechanics behind character building for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Then I will show you the fastest method possible, that I've learned so far anyway, for creating a fully fleshed out character sheet. This way it literally takes seconds rather than hours. And the next video in this series will be about how to actually play the character that we build. Alright, so my number 1 piece of advice for character creation is to start off like you're ordering food. This is a life tip if you don't already do this. What most people do is they sit down at the restaurant, open the menu, and when they're looking around, either everything looks really good or nothing looks that good, and it takes you a long time to figure out what you actually want to order. So what you should do is think about what you want before you even open the menu. And you can do this for RPGs too. Think about your favorite characters from fantasy media. Are they a human? Are they an elf? Do they fight with a huge sword or a bow? Or do they use magic or some combination of all these things? Maybe you love cats or dragons. Well, you're in luck because you can play either of those animals essentially in D&D 5e. If you want to play a bird person, I recommend checking out the links to my homebrew race in the description. But whatever you're interested in, you and your DM can make it happen. So it's important to narrow down your ideas before you start paging through the given options. One more thing I want to highlight before we get into the mechanical bits. There's a section on your character sheet for personality traits, ideals, flaws, and bonds. These are kind of the wants and the fears and the motivations of your character. And you can put as much or as little thought into this part as you want, but it's really important to ask your DM if the game you're about to play is going to be really roleplay heavy or not. In my experience, what I find is best is to start off with a few, maybe just 1 or 2, funny habits or mannerisms that your character has, and let their personality develop as you go. Really try to let them surprise you. That said, there are 2 main mechanical parts to your character that you'll have to choose that we'll go over now. These are going to provide bonuses to your character's core abilities as well as skills and features that they can use both in and out of combat. Again, don't worry about optimizing these for the game. Just think about creating a character that you're really interested in playing and a character that you're really interested in being for the duration of your campaign. So the first part, race, is basically your character's species or their ancestry. Are they a human, an elf, a dwarf, a gnome? There are over 36 options currently in 5e Dungeons & Dragons. Only going to be more coming out down the line, and there are over 50 options if you include the sub-races as well. So that is a lot to choose from. It's too much to put in this video, probably too much for a single video, but with this probably more than the other sections, it's really important to figure out what you want in your own head before you start looking at all the options. And once you have that idea of what you're interested in, I recommend checking out D&D Beyond, linked down in the description, where you can just scroll through the little blurbs for each race. Okay, and the second part is class. This is basically your character's specialty within your group. There are only 12 core classes, and personally, so not part of the actual game, but I like to think of them in a Venn diagram. On one side, you have the fighters. On the other side, you have the spellcasters. The fighter side includes things like fighters, barbarians, rogues, and monks. These are more simple to play and generally harder to kill, so if you're totally new to the game, I recommend going with something from this side. Now, if you really want magic to be your thing, or if you have more experience with RPGs, you can check out the spellcasters side, where we have things like bards, clerics, druids, wizards, and sorcerers. Then in between those two groups, we have the warlock, paladin, and ranger. Now, if you're not sure you want to go full spellcaster or full fighter, it might be tempting to choose from this middle group, but keep in mind, then you're kind of setting yourself up for learning how to play two different types of characters at once. So if you're totally new to D&D, I would only go with those options if you're really sure it's what you want to play, and you can decide that for yourself by checking out blurbs for each of these classes, also on D&D Beyond, also linked down below. And maybe you have no idea what class you want to play. In that case, I recommend speaking with your DM, who can tell you probably what other players in the group are already thinking about doing. You could choose a character class that somebody else is already going to go with, so you'd have a little buddy to learn that character class alongside, or you can choose a class that nobody else is choosing in order to fill in some of the gaps that might be missing within your group's specialties. Okay, and there is a third part called character background that also provides some features and skills and equipment for your character. This is simply what they were good at before they became an adventurer. There are a bunch of pre-made options already in the PHB and the basic rules, and it's highly customizable. But personally, I'm not really a fan of the standard 5e options for backgrounds, so there's probably going to be a video coming soon in the Let's Fix It series about 5th edition backgrounds and how to make them better. Anyway, an easy way around this is to create a character who's already been an adventurer for a while. You and your DM can work out their background and backstory. In that way, your DM might be more likely to include stuff from your backstory in future quests and later down the road in the campaign. And if you really like this idea of making an adventurer first, Cody from Taking 20 has an awesome video about it, which I'll link down in the description. And at this point, we will now shift gears into how you can make that fully fleshed out character sheet in literally seconds rather than hours. Down in the description, you'll find a link to a website called fastcharacter.com. I'm not in any way affiliated with them. I just love this website because it's been a great resource for me creating characters for D&D 5e, and I really think it's so easy to use that anybody can do it with just a few clicks. Alright, so here's the main page of Fast Character. You have drop-down menus here for race, class, background, and some other options. Let's just start with race. This is broken into common races, which you can find in the basic rules, uncommon races from the player's handbook, as well as exotic races, monstrous races, and Eberron races, all of these being from books and supplements that have come out since the player's handbook. And if you've been following this series and already had downloaded the basic rules, I recommend choosing one from there, because in any case, you should be choosing a race that you'll be able to quickly reference the features and the abilities of how that race actually works while you are playing. That'll come up in the next video about how to play the character. After race, we have class. You'll notice right away that on Fast Character, these are divided by subclass as well, something I have not yet mentioned because it doesn't really matter at first level, and I assume you're making a level 1 character if you're totally new. But again, we'll cover that in the next video. And background. So I've already given my piece on this. Just pick something that appeals to you or you can go with this fantastic option, match to fit class. And finally, alignment. A lot can be said about alignment. A lot has already been said about alignment, so I'm not going to go into it here, but I recommend something like neutral good. If you're totally new to the game, that might be more of how you're going to be playing that character. The rest of these options, name, gender, that's all up to you and your vision for the character. But if you need help coming up with a name, just keep this bubble filled in so you'll get a random one. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a demo. I'm just going to select level 1 and leave everything else unselected, so it will randomly take care of the rest for us. And let's see what we get. Alright, so here at the top, we have name, race, and class. The ability scores over on the left. These are chosen with the standard array, aka the point buy system, basically a predetermined series of numbers rather than randomly rolled numbers. So you should ask your DM about which method they prefer to use for character creation. And I'm pretty sure that these are optimized based on the class it uses as well. But as you can see, it fills out your racial features, your class features. It will choose spells and languages, and even your equipment and weapons and skill proficiencies, all based on what's available from your class. And it calculates the bonuses for all of these things, and I've never noticed any errors with the dozens of characters that I've made using this site. Obviously, you can't edit this once it's made, so it's ideal for one-shots or for NPCs. You can, of course, use this for an extended campaign if you're just willing to copy down all the information from the pre-generated sheet onto a blank one. So guys, play around with Fast Character a little bit. Let me know how it goes, or if you have any other great resources for character creation. And in the next video of this series, we will dissect a pre-made character sheet and cover the basics of how to actually play. If you found this useful, like the video, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to see new videos from this channel every Wednesday. And I encourage you to check out the awesome community-created character options on the DM's Guild and DriveThruRPG, including my own homebrew race. Those are all linked in the description, and using the links down there really helps out the channel. So as always, guys, thank you for watching and keep building.